We're live.
Hello!
Hi! Hello, everyone.
Welcome to another installment of CysterWigs After Dark.
Yes, indeed.
With Nigel and me. And honey, because we're only using the one microphone in this one, because we're both in the same room, when you want to talk, make sure you face this way, because my mic's on. He's got his muted. Otherwise, you're going to get feedback. Boop, 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 and it's really, really, really loud. For a second I was thinking about that Tim and Eric meme where they're like, it's really like, you know, the universe thing where they're talking about Tillman's crest. If you've never actually seen Tim and Eric, you won't understand any of this reference, but I'm gonna go there anyway. He's like, and this is Tillman's crest, and then Eric starts talking about how the universe is really, 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 really fun. You think he's gonna say big, but he says fun. And it's not really much of a spoiler. It's like 12 years old at this point or something. So, hi, Shelly. Hi, Faith. Hi, May. Hi, Becca. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for anyone who hasn't chimed in but is watching us. I see we've got at least 16 people watching us now.
I just put on this Anya, and it was in the bag, so she's a little bit taco heady at the moment, so I'm just kind of taco heady.
Hey, that goes with our theme for tonight.
Yes. Well, it's not actually that awkward because all I have to do is fluff her up a little bit, and she starts acting right.
A little bit of fluffing, that's all you need.
That sounds vaguely dirty.
That came out worse. Yes, it did.
Phrasing, Nigel.
Secret monster holes are tight. If you've not watched Ryan George's movie pitches, then you won't get the gag, but he's hilarious. Hello, Ava and Shauna, who have just chimed in.
Oh, we're so happy that you could join us. Today's going to be a really loose and fun one because you guys voted for awkward hair stories. Buckle up, because I got a lot of them.
I'm living one now.
It's gonna be a good time. But as I mentioned, this Anya is not really that awkward. You just got to play with her a little bit. Otherwise, she's gonna be like right out of the box. She's gonna have like the triangle head effect. You kind of have to mess her up a little bit.
Hi, Diane.
And then she will assume her true form.
Well, Faith says she looks great waiting for hers.
Oh, fantastic. I love this wig. I gotta be honest though, between this one and the Mirabella, I like Mirabella a little bit better. And that's just because, as I've mentioned in previous live streams, I'm in love with the swish. Like, I love how swishy the hair is. This one doesn't really swish much. That's a weird combination of words, by the way. Swish much. Try saying it, because it makes it sound like you've got like mush mouth. Swish mush. But yeah.
Why not?
But
let's get Zoidberg in on the act. But it like much.
It's like the whole hair just kind of goes, you know, and it has this really, it's like when you twirl with a really big skirt on, you know, like a broom skirt or something. And it just goes like Stevie Nicks in her gypsy skirt. That's the way the Mirabella hair moves. It's like, ooh. I
feel pretty. Oh, so pretty. Oh, and Serene says, hi. Sorry I'm late. YouTube's reminder failed.
Yeah, and I'm so happy that you said that, honestly.
You, YouTube.
Because as I've been doing I did this last week, and I'm doing it this week too. I'm kind of testing YouTube's notification system. So we're not actually going to have, I'm actually betting that if this is consistent with the last 3 live streams that we did, like last Friday, last Saturday, and yesterday, I did not do a whole big work and send out advertising to advertise the live streams, as I mentioned before. And I promise I'm not just saying this stuff to complain. I think it's actually like good information to know about like the differences between YouTube when I started and the way it is now. The way it is now, it's basically like I had, and a lot of you have heard me say this already, but this is for everybody who hasn't heard this, so my apologies if it's a repeat, you know, but I'll keep it short. When I first started YouTube, like YouTube 1.0, 2.0, I don't know, but they used to do a lot to notify people that we were on the air. It didn't have anything to do with our size or, you know, how popular we were or any of that. And it was just like a baked in feature to YouTube. YouTube has since changed a lot. And some would argue that not necessarily for the better, because originally, just like all social media platforms, the corporate game was a little bit different on their end. So meta level, right? You got to think about what they're trying to achieve. They wanted to monopolize the space where people like come to watch videos, either being made by corporate entities, by like CBS, ABC, etc., and people like me and everybody else who's on YouTube who's like a smaller content creator and everybody in between. And because they basically have that monopoly status now, they don't need to do any of that additional heavy lifting. They just need to dangle the carrot and say, if you keep pumping out content for us and we don't have to compensate you for that, you know, except for like maybe some AdSense if you monetize your stuff, we're just going to dangle this carrot that someday you'll get rich and famous if you just keep churning out content uncompensated. And the thing is, I don't monetize 2 of my 3 channels. Like, this channel is not monetized. If you look it up on Social Blade, you won't find it, because I haven't turned on the AdSense on this channel or CysterWigs Classics, though I qualify on all 3 of my channels. And it's because that was not the goal. Like, I didn't start off on YouTube with the expectation or the goal of being like a YouTube celebrity. You know, I knew from the beginning that this was like a really super small niche and that was just not going to happen. Like, as long as people are talking about medical wigs, and I will maintain this until my dying breath, you're not going to get famous talking about this stuff. So if that's your goal, it's a bad goal. If the goal is to do something like this, where we're hanging out together and just chit-chatting and learning about the products and learning about how to get the most of them and just, you know, talking about weird stuff like awkward hair adventures, like today's theme, then, you know, I don't even necessarily need to do that here on YouTube. I could literally move all of this to Vimeo, and I love Vimeo. There are no ads. Yes, no ads. And then I don't have to worry about other people's videos being recommended like it's a gateway to a rabbit hole every time somebody watches one of my videos. In fact, it'll recommend another one of my videos, guaranteed, because I pay to host my videos on Vimeo. And I don't mind that at all. Like, I don't mind it. I don't mind literally having to pay the platform if my audience gets a smoother experience and I don't feel like I'm constantly shooting myself in the foot by making new content and then having it refer people elsewhere. You know what I mean? So this is kind of an experiment, because either way, I want to keep doing this and I want to keep having these live streams, but there are multiple options, you know, especially since I'm not married to the notion of being like a YouTube celebrity, because that was never something I had any interest in. So I could literally move all of this off of YouTube to somewhere where you still don't have to pay to see it. You know what I mean? And we could have a similar experience, but it's so, it's a little annoying, I guess, from my perspective, to have to make a lot of advertising content to advertise my advertising. You know what I mean? And I do frame it that way because that's what it ends up being. Like, I end up spending, you know, every Friday and Saturday, I was spending like 2-3 hours making artwork and newsletters and notifications. And I was like, so not only am I prepping for a live stream, which requires kind of a bit of physical work, but I'm also doing the live streams, which are like an hour and, you know, a half, 2 hours sometimes. And that's the part I like. I like the makeup part too. I'm not lying. I love playing with the makeup. But then the other thing is, like, I don't necessarily love spending, you know, 2-3 hours 2 days in a row. So that's like 6 hours of my week tied up making like newsletters and stuff just to promote stuff for YouTube, when the whole point of YouTube for me was that it helped me connect with my audience, where I didn't have to do a lot of that stuff because it was already baked in. I hope that makes sense. I hope that doesn't sound like just like ambiguous whining because it's like
well, we've been getting a lot of complaints in the comments over here.
Oh, cool. Well, let's see what everybody else has to say, Nigel.
All right.
Because I'm very curious to see how the experience is on your end too.
Right, let's see. Right, Liz says no notifications.
Ooh.
Couldn't find you at 3 p.m.
Oh, that's
Charles says, yes, I was struggling to find this. Jamie says, hi, everyone. So,
hi, Jamie.
Let's see.
And hi, Cheryl and Liz, too.
Yeah.
Don't want to not say that.
Hello, sorry to be late. That's all.
Don't worry about it, Sharon. We were just finding out that you know, YouTube may have been very hit or miss with the notifications, and it's kind of like an experiment.
Yeah.
Like Liz, I was saying.
Liz says, usually get an email saying you're going live. Not this time.
Yeah.
Faith says, were you live last night? Couldn't find you.
That's the thing. Usually I do a lot of heavy lifting on behalf of YouTube to notify people about this stuff. That's what I was just saying. That's not stuff that YouTube's doing.
Serene says, wouldn't be quite so annoyed, but I actively requested the reminder, and I requested it less than an hour ago. It still failed.
Yeah, it's kind of mind-blowing. So what I think is we're gonna still keep playing around, because you know me, like I'm Captain Work in Progress. Like I love just kind of like optimizing things. It's like hardwired into my anatomy. But that's why your feedback and your comments are so incredibly important, because it helps me know what things are like on your end. So that way I'm not just doing things like that benefit me. It's something where we can all hopefully get the most out of it. So it's like a collaboration that way. So I'm thinking I might actually move a lot of this activity to Vimeo. Maybe in the summer or something like that, if it seems like this. Because if I have to send out notifications to everybody that we're doing this, I don't need YouTube to do that. And like I said, there are lots of downsides to actually doing this on YouTube. The only real downside, and I absolutely welcome you guys to add more downsides too, if you can think of any, but the only real downside I can think of to moving this stuff to Vimeo is that if you watch this stuff on like a smart TV, I don't know if there's an app for that. I'm not sure if there is a Vimeo app. There should be. Like you would think there would be. But if there isn't, then that might make it less convenient than watching on YouTube, especially if you like to watch this on your TV. But I just wanted to kind of like ask you guys what you think. Do we have any more comments coming in, honey?
Oh, loads.
Okay, cool.
Let's see here.
We like to stall a little bit before we get into the meat and potatoes of the live streams anyway, so this is serving multiple functions.
He says, my students love Vimeo. It just recommends other videos within the course, so no nasty stuff.
That's right. That's right. And there is a lot of wacky stuff on YouTube. I know that they censor a lot of stuff, but it's like, to me, it's like they either need to censor more of it, or they just need to stop with the pretense, because it's still pretty crazy, some of the stuff that they recommend.
I have to type this to Shelly because it's not showing up on her screen.
Oh yeah, see if you can send her a link maybe.
1 second.
Yeah, so while he's doing that, I'll tell you guys what I'm wearing on my eyeballs.
All right.
Yesterday I talked about how I got the Club Nebula palette from Kaleidos, and I was super excited about it because I actually really like Angelica Nyquist's videos. I love that she is like not a super young 20-something, that she's like about 30-ish, and she likes to wear really vibrant makeup, and that's what she's known for. I'm like, I hope she keeps doing this. I hope that she keeps doing this even as she ages, because wearing vibrant makeup is difficult as you get older, but it's not impossible, and that's what I would really love to know more about. And this palette has some delicious duochromes and metallic shades, and I actually used the Coral Nubian palette from Juvia's Place, laid that down with a couple, like the gray color in the crease.
Huh? Very nice.
But Juvia's Place is very inexpensive, and what I did was, instead of using their duochromes, I used the one from that Club Nebula palette called, I think it's actually called Nebula, and it's outrageous. It's so pretty, and yet it's still kind of soft. I love it. It's one of those things that looks really crazy when you get up close, but then from far away, it still looks soft, like a 40-year-old could wear it.
Okay, Shelly's back with us.
All right, yay!
And Serene asks, can you do live streams on Vimeo, and can we chat?
I know that we can do live streams on Vimeo. I'm not sure about the chat, so maybe that's something Nigel and I will have to experiment with a little bit, and kind of like, how funny would that be to like have you go downstairs or something and like try to do a live stream with one person, and that person being Nigel, and like us. We should do that as an experiment because it would be funny.
And Serene got my Star Wars reference.
Oh man!
I almost went with Chasing Amy reference for Nubian, but there you go.
I haven't seen Chasing Gamey in a hot minute.
Oh, that's a good one. What's a Nubian? Shut the fuck up! Which brings us to our next thing.
We cuss
Welcome
a little.
to CysterWigs After Dark. If you're looking for something that's not sanitized QVC style wig reviews, then you've come to the right place. But just be warned, there's gonna be a little bit of cussing, there's gonna be some alcohol involved, it's gonna be PG-13.
It's relatively relaxed and unprofessional. That's how we like it.
Yes. So unprofessional.
I know. It's at this point, I feel like I should just get a t-shirt that says unprofessional on it and just wear it across my boobs. If nothing else, I could be like, look.
You own that.
I own it, baby. You know, and maybe someday I should like make a video about why, because it's actually not related to the wig industry at all, why I have this opinion. It's because I used to work in a corporate advertising environment. So I have a very, very passionate opinion about all of the things that a professional demeanor can actually hide. And for me, I'd rather have true enemies than fake friends any day of the week, because at least then I know where I stand, right? It's not, yeah, it's not always easy, you know, because obviously nobody likes that kind of negative energy being hurled at them. But, you know, it's still, at least I don't have to guess, and I don't waste my energy on people that don't like me, you know, and because they're not pretending anymore. It's like, cool, I know I can ignore you and move on to the people who care. Correct. That's awesome. Oh, Shelly is talking about the necklace.
Yes.
This is something I'm super proud of, actually. It's Givenchy. Oh, and thank you so much, Shauna. But I bought this super dirt cheap, and it is authentic. It's just the person who owned it originally really damaged it. And so I bought it for a song, essentially. I bought it for like 20 bucks used. Because,
that's not too shabby.
No, for a designer necklace, but it's because there's supposed to be like a system of loops and like a little chain underneath it that keep it from flipping like this. And they removed that. So I was like, whatever, that sounds like a DIY project. I will totally figure out a way to add some loops back to this, you know, and keep, but for right now, I'm fine. You know, it's Givenchy, and all I have to do is this once in a while to keep it in place. 20 bucks. Can't beat it with a
Not
stick.
too shabby.
And then I get to say I have a Givenchy necklace. Hooray. I saw that May is toasting us.
Yes.
I'm toasting you, May. Right
we'll
back
get
at
to our
you.
cocktail soon enough. It's a simple one. Heather's done it this time. It's Heather's recipe.
Yeah.
Very simple, but very refreshing.
I'm already drinking a drink. I'm kind of cheating, Nigel. I'm drinking something else.
That's okay.
I have elderflower soda downstairs.
Ooh.
And we have St. Elder, so I put some of this in. It's from Trader Joe's. And I just let it get a little warm, and then I shook the can. Oh, that looks like a vulgar gesture, but I shook the can. So that way when I open
Fluffing.
Yes, I fluffed the can. That should be a euphemism. Oh God.
Chastising the officer.
Anyway, moving on. No, I wanted it to be a little flat because I have a sleeve, and I don't want to be like belching the whole time I'm doing this. That would be a completely different kind of live stream.
Or hurting yourself with the bubbles.
Yeah, no bueno. So I literally just let it get flat, and then I added some vodka, some Tito's, and a little bit of St. Elder to it, and it is delightful and refreshing. Yeah. No, you're gonna have to give me a full report now, dear. Inquiring minds want to know.
Cocktail good.
Yeah, when I was a little kid, my mom was actually a bartender or at multiple places in our hometown. And so she had a lot of pride in that. And I used to be in awe of her. I never actually drank the drinks, obviously, because my mom wasn't like that. She wouldn't like make stuff for us and like drink with us or anything. It wasn't one of those stories. But she would show us, you know, and we would come visit her at work once in a while. And it was so impressive because this was back when like the movie Cocktail was out. She could actually do some of that crazy stuff. Like, do people do that anymore where they like flip the bottles and all that stuff? Because it's super impressive.
Well, it looks impressive, but then I just think, you're wasting time. Get me my drink now.
Nah, it's like the bar version of hibachi. That's right. Fling that shrimp into my face. I'm here for it. Make the fire volcano.
That would hit me in the eye, and then I would sue.
Yay!
You're the kind of person waivers were designed for, clearly.
Yeah.
I'm the type of guy who, if he visited Australia, would get stung by a comb jelly in the airport somehow.
But Bettina says you should do a cocktail recipe book.
Funny you should say that, Bettina, because many years ago I started work on a cocktail recipe book. The problem is a lot of the stuff stopped being made.
Well, we're just going to have to experiment, honey.
Oh, darn.
For science.
Yeah.
And come up with new ones.
Do you guys ever make a bad cocktail? They always sound so wonderful.
Yes, we do. Those are the ones we don't show you.
They're rare though, because
Yeah.
I think we're both mixing for the same reason. Like
Yeah.
we both like things that taste good.
Oh yes.
And the problem is sometimes I have this idea like, hey, I know what will work nicely together, and these flavors sound good, and so I'll mix them together, and then I try them. I hand them to Heather, and she goes,
Now,
Yeah.
no, here's the thing though. Like my palate is way different. And it's two reasons. One, I'm autistic. So I've got this thing going on where I'm like a super taster. And a lot of autistic people have this where like our sense of smell, our sense of taste, like our senses in general are just like really heightened. And I've talked to some of my friends about this, and they say that they were like that when they were pregnant. That they were like really, really hypersensitive to smell and taste and stuff like that. So I don't know if that helps kind of relate what this is like for me. I wouldn't know because I've never been pregnant, and I've also never been a neurotypical person. But for me, like I just taste and smell everything in a really extreme fashion. So like I get everything. When people are like, hey, I hate it when things are scented, I feel that way too a lot of the time. Because if it's not like a really pleasant, soft scent, I tend to be really turned off by it because I can't stand having it, like if it's a hair product, I can't have it that close to my face for long periods of time without going, ugh. It's like almost nauseating, And I feel real bad for people who get migraines from scents because they're in everything now.
Ava says, really like the beautiful mug you're drinking from.
I got this from Pier 1 before they closed in our town. They were running a sale. I mean, I'm the kind of person where, for me, the goal when I started making wigs was always to make inexpensive wigs because that's the kind of stuff I buy. Like, I love to buy things that are good value. I bought these for like $7 a piece, and they're genuine copper. So at least they're copper plated. They're made for like Moscow mules, but they're very nice. I love this kind of hammered effect. It's real pretty.
Yes.
I couldn't pass it up.
Tonight's topic, awkward hair stories. More on that soon.
But first order of business.
Oh, I want to say hi to Haley at Designer Wig Outlet. I always want to make sure that when people send me really positive, lovely messages, that I return the favor by actually acknowledging it. And even though they're not asking me to acknowledge it publicly, I think it's really important to show just the universe that, not all women have to be catty by default. There are lots of like really wonderful, lovely women that don't just look out for themselves, that view us as a community and want to make sure that we're all, I love you, but they basically want to make sure that, all of us are cool. And like, I gotta find this message that Haley sent me on Instagram because it was one that's Kathleen Ryan. She actually helps me with my Instagram messages because I'm constantly overextended. And Haley said, just wanted to pass you along a word of encouragement. Congratulations on your fun colored wig line. You're working so hard as always, and I recognize you for it. Have a great week. And it was like literally out of the blue. She sent me that on Instagram. So shout out to Haley at Designer Wig Outlet. That is a lovely, beautiful thing. And it really did make my day because sometimes, I get my nose into the grind, you know what I mean? And I'm just like grinding and I forget, that there are all these people out there that are just full of love and positive energy. And, it's just nice to be reminded, like, because the thing is, even though obviously she's got her own wig store, she's not buying from me. Not everything I do is money motivated. And she's showing me by sending me that's the same for her too. Like most people who own small businesses in the wig industry, most of us like the fact that we're small businesses. Like we want to keep them kind of small. Like we want to be able to make a living, obviously, but we like how intimate having a small business really is. I know I feel that way. So maybe I'm putting words in people's mouths where I shouldn't be. But for me, I've made deliberate choices throughout the years to kind of scale down. And I've been very upfront about that because I love getting to know you guys for real and not just trying to make generic presentations for a generalized audience. And if that means that I'm going to be in a small business forever, I'm totally fine with that. As long as I can pay my bills, everything else is like the icing on the cake. But cake by itself is still pretty awesome. So
cake is amazing.
You know what I mean? So I want to give a big shout out to Haley for being just lovely and sending that to me at random, completely like
Serene
on her
says,
own.
Serene says, cheers to Haley. Huzzah!
Absolutely. Big shout out and a cheers to Haley.
And Bettina says, brava, Haley.
Absolutely. And I want everybody to know that we salute her and any small business owners, including Miss Michelle over at Mimo Wigs.
Second order of business.
Woo!
Mimo's wee gifty parcel.
Oh my God. He's got to read this letter that she sent me because it is adorable, but I have to show you. Look at this. Look at this.
It's got stuff written all over it for the lovely Heather.
Oh, we gotta get this banner off the screen so people can actually see this. Okay, here we go.
Thanks for delivering, Mr. DHL man.
Isn't that adorable?
Yes, we got
It's so adorable.
on the outside, and then on the inside we've got
With love from your crazy Scottish bald buddy.
It's so cute. It's like she knew, she could sense psychically like that I was like depressed, and just in the nick of time she sent me this. Like, people are lovely.
Oh yes. So inside I
gotta get out of the way so we can actually see this stuff.
Okay.
Well, we removed all the packing stuff, the bubble wrap and the paper.
It was wrapped very, very
it was
securely.
wrapped extremely well.
Yeah.
And inside is this satiny napkin.
It's like a hair wrap.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah, and
I got
her business card on
business
it.
card. Yeah.
Yes. And I sell wigs, so she didn't send me any wigs, but she sent me a whole bunch of stuff, and I might actually have to make some videos about this stuff just to kind of play around with them because she's so thoughtful. She sent me lashes, lots and lots of lashes.
Yes.
I need the practice, so this is actually really, really helpful.
Oh, Heather, did she send you 50 lashes?
She sent me so many lashes, just a boatload of eyelashes, just so many, and she sells them. Right? I don't sell eyelashes, so I have no problem at all talking about something somebody else sells that I don't sell. And look at how cute this holographic packaging is. I am such a sucker for holographic anything. It's very thematically consistent with my holographic blonde. I could just pull out one of these boxes and be like, it's like this, you guys, see? Blonde, hologram, eh? She also sent me pigments that I can put into my makeup routine, and she sent me just a ton of stuff, just lashes upon lashes. And she knows that I'm kind of a sucker for these gigantic, thick, super dramatic lashes. I don't know, but I think it's just because when I wear really thick lashes, even though it's like a 50-50 chance I'm going to screw up applying them, just being real, but like if I pull them off right, it makes my eyes look gigantic, like I have doll eyes. So I'm very excited to play with those. And she also sent me a Viseart eyeshadow palette that I'm gonna have to play with
because that is impressive.
It is impressive. It's like the volume 3 Grand Pro, so I'm gonna have to play with that at some point.
The letter's missing.
Oh no, it must be downstairs.
Oh well.
Yeah. But she sent me a really lovely letter with it, and if you want, I can kind of just talk for a little bit. If you want to go see if you can find it.
All right.
It's probably downstairs.
I'll have a quick shifty.
And it was wrapped in this lovely head wrap. It's kind of satiny, but isn't that lovely? So Nigel and I have actually been thinking about things we can do to kind of not necessarily reimburse her, but like keep paying it forward. Because to me, when people do something really nice, I like doing something nice back. So that way we could just keep the cycle going. It's just a really fun thing to do, I think. So, it sure beats the heck out of, just like being like, oh, woe is me all the time, which believe me, Michelle and I have both been on the receiving end of, people bullying us and being really nasty. And we're just trying to make a living, and I really appreciate her attitude. It's like whatever comes her way, she's just got this giving, caring. Did you know she used to be a nurse before she went into wigs? So same thing with me. She had kind of a lucrative career before she was doing this, and with me, my trajectory was artificial intelligence. I was actually in an artificial intelligence program at the University of Georgia. I had a full stipend. And in fact, before I started doing this full time, because it was just kind of a side hustle for me, the school tried very hard to convince me not to leave it. And Nigel,
I couldn't find the letter.
okay, we'll have to find the letter at some point because we were in kind of a hurry. Hopefully, you didn't get rid of it.
I don't.
Because I want to put that in a scrapbook. It was beautiful.
Yes,
but
she uses the word "we" a lot.
It's adorable. But and it was just a lovely letter, and I want to make sure I keep it. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, the sociology department at UGA wanted to like bribe me into staying. They wanted me to switch programs from an MS in artificial intelligence to a PhD program in sociology because they had a computational department and they wanted me to do that because my whole master's thesis and everything I was working on was literally, this is no joke, on sentiment analysis for natural language processing. So it was very heavy in linguistics. And it was also very much on social media network analysis and how peer groups remain intact, like how peer groups are affected in real life based on online interactions, which means I was basically at the cusp, like the cutting edge of a lot of that research. And even if I went into it now, I still would be. But I left that because I love this. I love helping people. I love talking about this stuff. And so we have that in common where we both had something really lucrative that we could have done that wasn't related to this, but money isn't everything. You know, sometimes if you find something that really brings you joy and a sense of purpose, that's what you got to run with. And I think that that's something we both really have in common. So I just wanted to give a big shout out to both Haley and Mitch over at Mimo Wigs. You guys are lovely people, and we're proving it that sisters doing it for themselves don't have to be bitches while we do it. So thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Really, it's so refreshing.
Speaking of refreshing, tonight's cocktail, devised by Heather, is the Jim Dandy Ginger Peachy Hard Iced Tea.
He named it. So it's a collaboration again.
Well, when people ask me how am I doing when I'm being sarcastically 1950s upbeat style, I say, what did I say? Peachy Keen, Jim Dandy, and Ginger Peachy. So this is the Jim Dandy Ginger Peachy Iced Tea. Now,
I gotta get out of your way.
Right.
Amscray. We both said Amscray. We spend too much time around each other. Or just enough.
Yes, exactly. Righto. Let's get this going here. Right, okay. What you do is you make a jug of iced tea, like this one here, with using the Republic of D Ginger Peach Longevity Brew. And then, once you've done that, you get yourself some Plume and Petal Peach Wave Vodka. This stuff has an infusion of white peach, lavender, and black tea with a hint of honey. It tastes pretty good on its own, but it's kind of sweet. So what you do, get a shot, one shot, hey, a peach on the glass. It's almost like I planned this. One shot of this Plume and Petal peach vodka. And we're using whiskey stones so that nothing gets diluted. One shot of the peach tea, lavender, honey vodka. And then top up with the iced tea. There you go. There's Heather's. Put that there. And I'll put this back up to where it was before. And here's mine. Drink ale. Oh, hell yes. And it is very peachy in every sense of the word. Okay, Heather, all done. I don't know what happened to that letter. Sorry. But yeah, there you go.
Jim Dandy, ginger peachy, iced tea.
Yeah, you're gonna have to help me find that when we're done.
Yeah, I've got a couple places I'm going to check.
Because literally the letter was my favorite part of the whole thing.
Oh, it's adorable.
It was wonderful. It was too good not to share. All right, I have to try this. We created it in theory and have not actually had it yet. Did you take a sip yet?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
It is peachy.
Ooh,
it is peachy keen.
That's refreshing. And I'm glad we didn't sweeten the tea.
Refreshing.
Because that vodka is incredibly sweet.
It is a very, very sweet vodka cocktail thingy in its own.
But mixed with unsweetened peach tea, ooh, that's nice.
Kristen says, mean people suck. There's no reason to be that way. I'm
That's
amazed
right.
when adult women act like mean girls.
I think money messes everything up. I think when it comes down to it, that's just a law of nature. Like, you know, I wish we had a social model where people were incentivized to literally be nice to each other. Because I think if there was an economic incentive for people to be civil, they would. I think maybe that's just my inner social scientist talking. I've got like an economist streak in me because I did a lot with sociology, but like I do. I agree completely. I think that you know, I wish that society in general was engineered by social engineers and not necessarily like politicians. You know what I mean? Because I think that it's very evident after a fashion that a lot of the way that our society works was crafted by lawyers. No comment at all, Nigel.
I'm maintaining a politic silence.
I think that's probably right. I think, in fact, I want to move on too because I don't want to say something that's going to be potentially abrasive. But yeah, it's like I wish in general that there were more incentives baked into society for everybody to act like Mr. Rogers told us to.
Yes.
Because I think that in general, we'd all be a lot happier that way.
It really annoys me when you're young and they tell you, now you should be nice to other people.
And be yourself.
And be yourself. And then you do that. And then people trample on you.
Yeah.
And make fun of you.
Yeah.
Fuck those
yeah.
people.
And then they were like, and oh yeah, it's pretty awful. I think we all know what that feels like. And I think that's why for me, I get really passionate about defending people when they're in that situation. I'm like, the mama bear tendency comes out. It's like latent. It's in there somewhere though. Like if anybody says anything about him, like they could trash me all day long. But usually if they say something about Nigel, I go like I do. I go crazy. I'm like, like the anger is instant. And then I have to dial it back.
I'm the same about you, my treasure, but I'm not going to say the things that go through my head because I'll be put on a list.
Yeah, the things that go through my head are mainly just cuss words. Like it's not like a violent tendency, but it's like
I start with cuss words. Some of them dating back 1,000 years, which few other people besides myself and Giles Brandreth know.
Yeah. Well, like when people say something that push that button though, it's like you can almost see the cartoon bubble appear above my head that has like the ampersand and the hashtag, the octothorpe. That's what that's called. I know that word. High five. Yes. And like, but you know what I mean? Like you can just see the fake cuss words coming over my head in a bubble.
I use real cuss words.
Well, I do too.
Heather, what you need is a little bit of kanji in the middle of your forehead, black eye makeup. If you folks aren't familiar with Agretsuko, familiarize yourself with her. She's a hoot.
Yeah, I have a t-shirt. Actually, my friend Ronnie, who break out the picture again because we need to break out the reference. That way, if Ronnie ever catches these live streams, it could be like, "Look, you're famous." No,
Ronnie's in the middle.
This is my friend Ronnie, and I was the basically lady of honor at his wedding to his husband, Nunzio. And they're just lovely people. And
generous.
Yes, they're super generous. They're very sweet people. And it was a lovely honor to be in their wedding. And I mean, look at the floral bouquet. It was this fall wedding. Ronnie picked the dresses and the bouquet. Oh, mwah, like just beautiful taste. They look so happy. But anyway, Ronnie He bought me like a whole bunch of Agretsuko stuff for being in his wedding. Like I have a little dish that's next to my bed and just a ton of stuff. And it was just a great gift because it's like, you know me so well. I don't get into all anime, but that one I really love.
It's by Sanrio, the same people who do Hello Kitty and all that. And it's about this little red panda who gets a job in an office.
Corporate.
In a big city. She's in the accounting department, and her day-to-day trials and tribulations trying to fit in a grown-up world. And to unwind, she goes to karaoke and sings death metal.
And she's like this beast of death metal.
Yeah.
It's like my spirit animal come to life.
She always starts every song with rage.
Like all the stuff she has to suppress when she's at work dealing with men in the office. Her boss is a literal pig.
He is a male chauvinist pig. First words out of his mouth, tea.
Yeah, he just demands stuff from her because she's the female in his department. And I'm like, I have lived that scenario before.
When you were talking about rage, all I could think of was Ben Stiller's character in Mystery Men.
That is a fantastic movie. Have you not seen it yet, Heather?
No, that movie's fun. We watched it together when we were in England.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
you made me watch it because it had Eddie Izzard in it.
It had Eddie Izzard in it. And of course, it's got the Herkimer Battle Jitney, the finest non-lethal combat vehicle known to man. Beautiful Art Deco stylings in that.
He loves anything that's Art Deco.
Oh, I can love Art Deco.
Yeah, I even got him to watch like part of a season of American Horror Story, the one with the hotel with Lady Gaga in it, because the Deco setting, outrageously pretty.
I can't figure out if I like Art Deco because it's used so heavily in Star Wars, or if I like Star Wars because it's got so heavily influenced by Art Deco.
I don't know. I think the way to tell is because anytime you see Art Deco, you go Deco, and then you like start drooling.
Yeah. I
think it's the Deco.
Yeah.
But then again, you could just like Star Wars because Star Wars is awesome.
Yeah. And Deco.
All right. Well, we're 41 minutes in and we still haven't started telling awkward hair stories.
So tonight's topic, awkward hair stories.
I think I should just like tear into a couple of mine. And if you guys want to tell some of yours and you're not afraid to let us share those comments, put them in the comments. We will read them out loud for sure because that's half the fun. Now, again, we were trying to keep it lighthearted because some of this stuff can go really dark. You know what I mean? Just keep it light because if you can laugh at it, you can heal from it. And that's really, really important. And for me, some of this stuff was just funny outright. So my first awkward hair story, because I got loads of them, is that I've told this story before, but some of you may not have heard it yet. When I first realized that I was losing my hair, it was because I was 17. I was at my grandpa's house. He was having like a little get together. It might have been for Christmas or something. I don't really remember that part, but I do remember that my cousin Ryan was there. And he's like, I mean, he was younger than me. He's like 3 years younger than me, but he was like really tall. So I'm 5'8". He had to have been like 6'3" at the time. So he'd just gone through his growth spurt, but he still had that like teenage inability to like not say things that are rude. You know,
some people never grow out of that.
True, but I mean, I'm rude from time to time, so I can't really throw stones about that. But this is a little bit beyond, you know, things that people would normally consider okay. So we were hanging out together, and I'm sitting there. He's sitting there. We go for a little walk. All the cousins are around us. We go back to the house, and I do remember distinctly. He stopped as soon as he got into the front door. And he turned around and looked at me. He's like, you know what, Heather, you're bald. I was 17. And he looked at me and said, you know what, Heather, you're bald. Arrgh! Like to that point, and I was 17 at the time. So can you imagine how mortifying that was? Because to me, I thought I was fooling people because I was doing that thing where I was like teasing my hair and I was like putting eyeshadow on my scalp. How many of you guys have done that? I was putting like eyeshadow on my scalp so people wouldn't see my scalp through it. But apparently because we'd gone on this walk, I had sweated and it wasn't as opaque as it was originally. And so he could actually see my shiny, shiny scalp from underneath all of the attempts to cover it up. And he mentioned that, and I was mortified because it was definitely within earshot of about 3/4 of my family members that were there. And there were like 20 people there at the time. And I was like, wow, so now everyone knows that I'm losing my hair. And as a teenager, that was something I was desperately trying to hide. At the time, obviously, I didn't think it was that funny. But now in hindsight, I'm like, wow, I wouldn't even break a sweat over that, right? Like, it wouldn't bother me at all. But at the time, I just wanted to like run for the hills. I was like, oh my God. I didn't know anyone could notice. But apparently, that happened. So if anything, I want you guys to get the message that, you know what, like time and maturity and just not giving a shit can absolutely heal some of these wounds. Because I genuinely don't give a shit now. I've got more hair now than he does. Karma.
As I believe the saying goes,
right, karma. But the thing is, I could feel slightly superior because I would not go up to him and go, you know what, Ryan, you're bald. Like, I wouldn't do that unless I was doing it in jest, right?
I think we should do that too.
Oh God. Maybe,
right, got some stories here.
Yeah, let's share them.
Okay. Serene says, when we first started wearing masks, I had chosen one that had elastic around the back. Wearing Ryan by Estetica adjusting mask also adjusted the wig right off. I laughed and put it back on.
Yeah, see? Not giving a shit? Therapeutic.
My kid joined in and started shrieking, bald, bald, like from the SpongeBob movie. I'm not familiar with that one, so I can't do an accurate impression, I'm afraid. We both laughed our heads off.
That's excellent. That is excellent.
Liz says, I was at a family birthday party for one of my nephews, and I wore Encore by Raquel Welch for the first time with them. My nasty brother-in-law yells out, wow, Liz, your hair! I assume it's not a wig!
Oh! What?
Meanwhile, one of the family was wearing a wig because she was undergoing chemo, and that made me feel extra badly for such a brutish, insensitive comment.
Seriously. So I think the point of the story is other people are putting their foot in it, right? Like they and I think honestly, literally all three of those stories are indications about like, if you've already learned to embrace it.
To hell with everyone else's opinion.
Whatever. But the folks that have chemotherapy, for example. Oh, who'd she say that was? Like a sister-in-law or something? Read that part of the story again.
One of the family.
One of the family. Like that poor person. That's the reason why people should try to be gentle about this, is because when people are undergoing chemotherapy in general, like that's shocking. It's shocking because they lose their hair if they're going to lose it. Not everyone with cancer loses their hair. But if they lose it so quickly, and it's really traumatizing. Even if they're warned in advance that it's going to happen and advised to shave their head and get a wig, we all know, and we can all kind of imagine that, instead of it being a gradual process that you have time to get used to, if it all happens like virtually overnight, that's really jarring. And then to have somebody take something that could be a really big source of insecurity, and rightly so, right? Like that's not shade saying that it's a source of insecurity, because if you don't have time to adjust to it, it is traumatizing.
Especially if they say it in a mocking manner.
Absolutely. To have somebody poke at that is like, oh, it's like the worst. So I'm glad, if anything, that she's got you as a reference, Liz, in that particular scenario, because you can be there to kind of shepherd her, be like, it's okay. Like this can be okay. This can be fun. And that person just doesn't know better. And we shall overcome together.
Ready for some more?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Bettina says, I once used Oops color remover on my hair, but hadn't thought to get hair color to recolor it. So I had orange hair for a week till I went into the school and got it fixed.
Sounds like punk rock to me.
Let's see. Andrea says, at a family gathering, when my mother yelled across the crowded room, Andrea, you're bald! I knew it was thin, but I didn't take long to shave it and wear wigs after that.
I wish I could say I don't know the feeling, but I absolutely think I'm sure I know that feeling.
Andrea continues, and I have to say now that it was a great turning point, and I love my wigs now.
Yeah! like seriously, like Mark Maron had something right when he talked about the subtle art of not giving a fuck. It's a lovely thing to get some distance from the emotionality of that. But that's a process, you know, and it takes time. But once you get there, it's like this Zen thing. You're like, whatever, I'm bald, who cares? Let's have fun.
Jamie says, today we were at someone's graduation, family, and someone said, I love your hair, Jamie. And my son yelled out loud, it's a wig!
Oh no! Oh no! Why is it always the boys? Seriously, how would they feel if they were wearing a toupee and we were like, nice rug, buddy? Like, come on! Ugh!
Leora says, I used to have 11-inch tall bangs. They were so tall, my friend had to open his sunroof for them to fit, due to me already being 6'1". Okay, then.
Aquanet for life. That stuff was amazing back in the day. Horrible for the environment, but it could hold anything in place.
Okay, just so we're on the same page, Leora, are we talking those koosh ball bangs from the 90s?
I believe that is what this story is about.
Okay.
Yes. Like, we lived through that era as well. I never had enough hair to do that, seriously, because I started losing my hair way before I ever was able to recognize it. So by the time I was 17, my cousin was like, ha, ha, you know what I mean? But, you know, I was in denial about it for a really long time because I was like, I'm so young. This can't be happening. This only happens to old dudes. This can't be happening to me. It was happening to me. But the thing is,
what? I noticed your hair was thin when we first met. I didn't comment on it.
does that count as another awkward story that he noticed that my hair was thin right off the bat?
No, because I also know she had big green eyes and a beautiful smile, and you were treating me nicely.
You are a smoothie every day, dear.
Well, it's true. I mean, we wouldn't be married if I didn't think you were nice.
No, I think you're nice. I think you're cute. Oh,
Anyone
man.
vomiting yet?
Oh, it's probably gonna get mushier before this is over because I've had 2 drinks now.
We aim to make everyone out physically ill with our sickly sweetness.
And that's not a bit either. Like,
No.
it's something where like we almost make it a personal challenge. Like in a post world where in a post this challenging time world, like pre this challenging time and now post this challenging time now that we're all vaccinated, hopefully, and stuff. Like, we're very much hoping to, like, inflict our mushy, syrupy goodness on the universe. It cannot be contained.
No. I mean, there's Gomez Adams meets the Care Bears is what I'm aiming for.
Why the Care Bears?
Because they're sickeningly saccharine.
When I think of Care Bears, though, I think of, like, bellies with, like, pictures of them.
Well, let me talk to you about that tattoo I'm planning on getting later.
Please do not get like a giant happy sun face on your belly.
No, I was gonna get Vega's serpent. You know, from Street Fighter 2.
Please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Evil Horde Bat.
Are you planning to get them on your pecs?
Decepticon.
Oh goodness. Oh,
Mandalorian Kirbesh skull.
honey, your skin is allergic to air, so why would you do that?
Because it makes you laugh. See?
Nah.
Get some more stories, shall we?
Heck yeah.
Andrea says, I was worried when I had chemo and bought a human hair wig, expensive, and tried to hide it for a while. Then I was like, I have enough going on and just went bald.
It's easier. It's easier.
It never really recovered after chemo.
And Andrea, you're not alone in that.
Now it's wigs forever.
Woo! But yeah, as I was saying, Andrea, that's a pretty common thing. Like, doctors always tell people, and again, I have no firsthand knowledge of this. I have not gone through that by the grace of God. But the thing is, I do business and talk to a lot of people who've been through similar. And I actually have a friend who is a professional radiation therapist. And it's pretty much known that doctors tell chemo patients and people who lose their hair from like head radiation, like, it'll grow back, it'll be fine. No, a lot of people, their hair never grows back. And if it does grow, sorry, I just saw that on the screen.
Yeah, I didn't. I only meant to scroll down to it, but I accidentally hit the button that shows it. But you know, whatever.
That means mission accomplished, just so you know. But as I was saying, like, when it does come back for a lot of people with chemo who have gone through chemotherapy or radiation to the head in particular, like, it's shocking to them and it catches them off guard because when their hair does come in, if it comes back in, it like changes texture. Like it's changed on like almost like the chromosomal level. And it goes from like, I've heard lots of stories from people who had thick, straight hair and it's like curly and hormonal and frizzy when it starts coming back in, or like it's really sparse or it changed color.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is I'm taking a very light dose of chemo for my rheumatoid arthritis. It was something that they discovered as a side effect helped rheumatoid arthritis. So they prescribe it for RA as opposed to, cancer now. And
or maybe a little bit of both.
Or a little bit of both. And I noticed that my hair started growing in frizzier and a lot harder to deal with, especially here in Georgia where it's humid. I mean, I lived in England for Pete's sake, and that's like we have water in all directions, in all 4 dimensions for Pete's sake. So it can be humid in Britain, but I moved here to Georgia and it's one of the few things I know about Friends. Rachel the other one from Friends. Monica from Friends. Slightest bit of humidity.
Yeah. Oh no, and it does make your hair more hormonally responsive when it comes back in. I've heard that. Like it might not be the same for everybody, obviously, and people on chemo are usually put on different kinds of chemotherapy that are tailored to their exact needs. But it can have such a profound effect. And I don't know if doctors really do a good enough job preparing people for how it's going to change.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really thinking more or less like, how are we going to beat this cancer? That's like their primary objective, and everything else is just like, whatever, we'll deal with it when it comes, right? So I kind of understand, but at the same time, it is shocking when it comes back in and people are like, whoa, I can't work with this now because like it's really thin or it's like really kinky or brittle or comes back really, really brittle. Yeah.
Well, we're going really, really, really grainy for some reason.
I think that one of us is on Wi-Fi. Did you actually remember to turn off Wi-Fi on your computer before you?
Yes, I'm on. Well, I don't know. Anywho.
Good thing I'm not doing a tutorial on this one.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys can still hear us.
Liz is talking about it was her sister-in-law, and she said, I told her that night she looked beautiful and looked natural too.
Excellent. Sometimes that's all it takes is somebody who has walked that walk to be like, it's okay. There's no shame in this. Because it's amazing what a little bit of like external validation can do to help somebody. Because like I'm sure that if she was the only one in the room that was wearing a wig, or like the only person who had that kind of experience, it would feel so isolating to be called out on it. But instead, it's now something you guys can bond over, which is like definitely the definition of turning a frown upside down, because it's like now this is something you guys have in common and you can talk about and have fun with, as opposed to somebody having to deal with it on their own, like, they're weird or something because they're the only one going through it.
Says my mom makes sure to tell me how my bio hair looks like a man's. Yes, mother. This is why I wear wigs.
Oh God. Oh man. I've had lots of awkward hair stories. My biggest awkward hair story to date was the one that I talked about with him in the hot tub, where I had tinted mousse on my hair to try to fluff it up and give it a color and try to make my scalp a different color, you know what I mean? But it was red. It was red. And when I went to go visit him, we were hanging out in a hot tub. It was not like we were being naughty or anything, because this was like a public area. People could have walked in and joined us if they wanted to. But I forgot, because I was drunk on absinthe at the time. Yeah, so I'm like, wait, I had like a shot and I was already like, woo. And so we got in the hot tub. I sang an opera aria, so in the courtyard, in the hot tub, forgot about humidity, forgot about the fact that I was in England and that, it's moist. So that's for May.
Heather. Moist.
Yes, that's for you, May, out there. Because she was saying that to like everybody around her just to be funny. So yes, we were perpetuating bringing moist to the universe. We were making the world a more moist place. But no, the dye that was in this mousse ran all over my body, my hair. It looked like the movie Carrie. It was not a sexy, glamorous moment. And when I was done singing, I actually looked at myself and I realized that I had streams of red running down my shoulders. And I was like, oh no. And luckily, he was a real champ about it. He did not get offended or anything.
Why would I? You were singing at me for me.
But yeah, he was very sweet. And yeah. Oh man. So I think that the Wi-Fi. I mean, it can't be the Wi-Fi because I've got the Wi-Fi turned off on my computer and we are directly plugged into the Ethernet.
So's mine.
Yeah, so I'm seeing the grainy part and I'm like, why is it doing that?
Are you seeing it on mine as well? Mine's even worse.
Yeah, is it really grainy for you guys too?
Yeah, people are complaining about graininess and freezing and all sorts.
Can you still hear us though, even though it's grainy? Because honestly, we're not really doing anything that interesting on screen in this one, but I want to make sure that we can still all have a conversation together.
And be heard, yeah.
Yeah.
So what does it say on the bottom of the...
I will get to comments if you make me another delightful cocktail. Let's see what I'm going up. I'm going up. I'm going up. I'm going up. Kathy says, Mushy is cute. Terry says, oh my God, you two are adorable.
Thank you.
Oh, how sweet, Nigel. No puking.
Darn.
Robin says, I love it when couples are mushy. We're not faking it either. We're really ridiculous about it.
We're like this on our own.
Pretty much, yeah. We're pretty ridiculous.
You feel my sweet?
Thank you.
One extremely hard iced tea.
How extremely are we talking here?
Same as usual.
Am I going to be able to talk?
You'll be able to talk. This not coherently.
I'm going to be mushing everybody if you get me too tipsy. I think he's going to check the Ethernet connection. Bettina says, I want a bad wolf tattoo. That actually sounds pretty cool. I'm actually pretty pro tattoo. That's actually one of the things I love best about Mimo. She's got a tattoo on her head. I feel like at least every other time we interact with each other, I straight up tell her how much I love her head tattoo. Like, I love tattoos. I'm just a big wuss. I am such a wuss. I am a wimp. And I also have a lot of loose skin, so until I get that handle, it's not even something worth considering, because I'll be one of those people that like thinks I'm getting like a dolphin and then part of its body is going to be cut off or something. So but I often think it'd be really cool to get like a Muha. Is that what the guy's name is?
Alphonse Mucha?
Yeah, I keep thinking it'd be cool to get like some Art Deco on my arm. Or like part of me would really love to get like some kind of secret tattoo that I can cover up with my clothing that's like literally a portrait of Lugosi or Boris Karloff or something like that. I mean, I know that wouldn't be sexy for him, but or like Vampira or something really cool, like just something kind of like a nod to my love. Vincent Price, or Christopher Lee, like literally any of those people's faces. I would love, because it basically is my heart, is all that weird goth stuff. Cheesy, campy goth stuff from back in the day, not necessarily gory stuff that they have now. Cheesy, camp, goth all the way for life. Serene says, wigs forever, pun intended. I love it, because that's what this line's name is. Hey.
Carla says, it was a breezy spring day. My wig blew off my bald head when I left for lunch. I had to chase it in spike heels. I couldn't catch it, much to the amusement of the mean squad from the office. Charming.
You know, karma's gonna get them someday, for sure.
And now I'm thinking of a Gloria Estefan tune.
Because if anything, I'm proud of you for being able to wear spike heels, right?
Yes.
Cheers to you for wearing spiked heels. I have never in my whole life been able to wear those.
Me neither.
Never. So mad respect just for that. And chances are, those bitches were probably wearing flats. Just throwing it out there. Throwing some hate. Whatever. Got any more, honey? Since you're back on comments?
Working on it. Yeah, a lot of people saying the signal's very bad. I
I'm
don't
so
know
sorry.
what's going on. I've made sure all the connections work.
Yeah. And literally we are plugged into the Ethernet.
Dory says, hi, my favorite lovely couple.
Hi,
Thank you, Dory.
I would love to have ripped the brother-in-law a new one.
I like how bloodthirsty you are, Bettina.
Your picture is grainy and you sound like a robot.
I'm so sorry, Brenda.
I don't know what's going on. I've checked all the connections. I don't know what's going on.
We literally have 100-foot Ethernet cable that goes from the first level of our home all the way up into the studio, and literally we have adapters and Ethernet plugged directly into the computer.
It's picking up on mine, so it's less grainy. It's looking a bit better.
You want to switch to your camera then? Maybe that'll do it.
No, because yours looks much better.
Well, okay.
Yeah. But if we do sound like a robot, hang on.
Soundwave superior, Constructicons inferior.
Had to get that out of my system.
You could not resist.
No, I could not, because Soundwave is superior.
Yeah. I mean, part of it, and this is my fear, I'm afraid that the connection is always going to suffer because we live out in the country. I hope that's not true.
Didn't we have the broadband people mucking about in the street the other day?
Yeah, there was literally a line cut. And they were literally out in front of our home playing around with it. So we might just have to call Charter and be like, what's up? My livelihood depends on good internet connections. Can you please fix this? Okay, thanks.
May says, thank you, Heather. I drink whenever I hear moist.
To you, May. Moist. Much moist to you.
And Kristen says, methotrexate.
Yes, I'm on methotrexate for my rheumatoid arthritis.
And he's also on Dupixent. Yeah. So double whammy, super fun.
It is YouTube getting back at you, says Kathy.
That's right. That's right. They heard me. They're spying on me. Oh,
Are you having bad weather?
No, it's beautiful and sunny outside.
Yeah. And the thing is, we're not using Wi-Fi, which is why it is triple, double, mega, ultra baffling. Like, we're hardwired into the Ethernet right now.
Yeah, we've got varying reports that they can hear us fine, or that they're breaking up, or that we're breaking up so badly they can't hear us at all.
Maybe let me see if I can. No, I can't change the definition because we've already started. But next time I'll do it in 720 and see if that helps a little. But last time we did that little toggling, it didn't help at all. Even in 720, it was like robot style.
Serene says our internet is wrong.
That's right. Maybe it needs an intervention.
Oh, you know what? I keep thinking. Oh, here we go. Here's a story. Years ago, I wore a hair extension out to eat with my family. My mother kept getting up and coming over to me and pulling on the extension, saying, "It looks so real."
So rude. So rude. Oh, people. Oh, we need to educate the children about proper wig clocking etiquette.
Well, Serene says it looks and sounds really good right now, but it looks grainy AF on my screen. So
yeah, I think we just need to stop obsessing about it, honey, because it's not going to get better. And we'll just call Charter on Monday.
Yeah, it looks fine on yours, but anyway, yeah, speaking of drunk, I keep thinking of Rolly Birkin QC.
Yeah?
There's this character from a sketch show.
Oh, yeah.
A British sketch show called The Fast Show. And Paul Whitehouse, who's a comedian and writer, created this character called Rolly Birkin QC, who's this old alcoholic gentleman who sits in his gentleman's club and tells rambling stories with hardly any recognizable words. He just all this there, and you talk about it, and there's all these sound effects, and all over the place, and meow. I said no. But I'm afraid I was very, very drunk. And he always ends up his stories by saying, "I'm afraid I was very, very drunk." And now and here's the funny thing. I cannot now watch Return of the Jedi and hear C-3PO talking to the Ewoks about the story of the Great Rebellion with all the sound effects without thinking at the very end that I'm afraid I was very, very drunk.
No, wait. How would that sound? Could you say like a sentence like C-3PO? and then lead into that, because I feel like that is something that needs to happen if you're going to say that.
Right. Well, let me get an empty tin.
Oh my god. This is now involving prop comedy. Only the finest.
Dear, oh dear. Right, I believe I have the correct metallic echo, but I'm afraid I was very, very drunk.
This is so good.
Thank you, my sweet.
So good.
Heather, to feed your inner grumpy, campy goth, if you haven't yet discovered Svengoolie, you may want to take a look. It's available on MeTV broadcast.
You should write that down immediately, honey.
Okay.
Yes, I'm into anything that's old school campy goth, anything. And it can't be campy or goth enough. If those two are together, I'm here for it, whatever manifestation that might be.
I have made a note of that on the notepad.
Yes, very, very, very good.
The pink stuff must be really strong, lol. No,
It's
we're
not.
just weird.
We are goofy people. It's so pronounced that I literally made that a slogan on some of our advertising, that we're a little goofy, because even sober, literally, this is pretty watered down. What's up, honey?
Kathy says, sounds like authentic frontier gibberish. Rarbin.
Oh man, good stuff. I have another awkward story. It was way back when. Like, let's go back in the way back machine, because most of these stories are from a long time ago, and I think that's before I knew what I was doing with the wigs, and it's also back when I cared a lot about it, and now I'm just like, I like it. I feel like almost like it's part of my makeup routine to put a wig on at this point. It's part of my outfit, and I match my hair to what I'm wearing and not necessarily how I feel like my bio hair should look. And that took some time to get to that phase of things, but it's a lot more fun because it becomes an extension of that creativity, But before that happened, so pre having fun with the hair, and way before CysterWigs, this was back when I was wearing toppers instead of wearing wigs. And I got really sick of wearing the toppers because my hair was getting progressively more thinned out, and it was so uncomfortable to wear them after a while that literally they were giving me migraines. And I was like, I gotta stop this, because I'm prone to migraines already. And I was in my senior year of college. I was like, I can't keep doing this to myself. So and please don't be offended by this, but my boyfriend and I at the time, so Dave, we had kind of a ritual. And now, it's not the most bio-friendly thing that we could have done, but we literally lit my topper on fire. We literally burned it up in a fire pit outside our apartment. And it was almost like a ritual where after we did that, he took a pair of clippers and buzzed my head for me because I just was done with them because they were pulling my hair and it hurt real bad. So that's something I'm trying to be mindful of while I'm designing toppers, FYI, is what that felt like. So I'm trying to keep them all really lightweight and really comfortable because yowza, that toppers can be painful if they're not made thoughtfully. We'll just put it that way. And if they don't fit right. But I was just sick of having my hair pulled all day long. And so we burned it up. And I remember going to a fashion bug. This is how long ago this was. I went to a fashion bug.
I do not recall those.
Yeah, well, it was like a girl store, but
that would explain.
Yeah, I went into this, and I was my hair was like really short. It was like a really short pixie, but really thin on top. After it started to grow back in a little bit, this is when I had my job at the advertising agency. So when I got off of work, I went to a fashion bug that was adjacent to it, and I bought a shirt. And the lady at the counter was this gorgeous, like chocolate goddess. She had like this beautiful, rich skin tone, and she had this gorgeous weave. This is relevant. It really is, because she asked me for my ID.
Would you describe her as a Nubian goddess?
She wasn't quite that dark, but she was beautiful, really, really beautiful. And it showed that she put a lot of care into her appearance, right? Like she had beautiful lashes, beautiful makeup, just meticulously well put together, just gorgeous. Somebody that looked way too glam to be at a fashion bug. Like she should have been at like a Saks Fifth Avenue or something, because she was just phenomenally well dressed. And she asked for my ID because I was paying with a credit card. She looked at my ID where I was wearing the topper, and I looked at me where I wasn't. And she was like, "You look better in this photo." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "You look better with this hair." And I was like, "Oh." And for a minute, I felt like explaining, because I'm autistic, so I take it real literally, right? So my first impulse was to try to explain to her, like, "No, I'm losing my hair, blah, blah, blah." But then I realized I'm talking to somebody who's already wearing artificial hair, who already knows what the hell she's saying. And I need to read between the lines here. So it was really awkward for the, like, 5 seconds, 10 seconds that it took me to process that I don't need to tell this woman who knows everything about what I'm about to say that I am losing my hair. She knows. She's just telling me I look better with hair than without. I took it as a gift. I told her thank you. But I got to be honest and say I blushed a lot. I was really, really embarrassed. But I knew she was telling me the truth, that like I would look better with the hair. And in a weird way, it was like it was almost coming from a place of love and like sisterhood. Like she felt so emboldened to just be like, this was better. You should go back to that. Because, I mean, the initial impulse is to get offended, right? To be like, how dare you tell me how I should wear my hair? But I knew it wasn't, she didn't mean it like that. Like that it was like, she was just literally telling me, hey, this was you with hair. This is you without. You should try this. And she knew it was fake. She knew the hair was fake. She was like, you look better with fake hair than without saying all those words. She just said, you look better with this hair. And like, there was a wink and a smile. And it was actually kind of a fun moment once I realized what she was trying to tell me. But sometimes subtext in me, not a good combo, because the autism, I take everybody literally. And so I had to I think I was embarrassed mostly because I had to fight the urge to take her literally and to assume that this was shade. And it wasn't. And once I realized that it wasn't, it became kind of like a bonding thing. It was kind of cool. And I will never forget it, even though it happened like a gajillion years ago at a fashion bug. Let's see. Anybody else have anything else to add?
Well, Serene, speaking of Svengoolie, says it's like MST3K meets Boris Karloff.
That sounds amazing in every freaking way.
I like a bit of Boris Karloff.
I like it when you do Boris Karloff because you raise your eyebrows like all the way up to your hairline.
Unless I do the Boris Good.
Boris Good. Literally every morning I say coffee good, and he does it.
Coffee good.
Running gag. Let's see what we got here. Let's see.
All right, well, let's see. Mary H says that at drive-thru, reached out to get a bag. We got snagged on the visor, popped up about 3 inches on my head. I reached up and pulled it back in place. We both laughed and I drove off. See, that's the best, when it kind of diffuses the tension and it's kind of just a fun shared moment as opposed to, oh my God, because it's like, when I think the common element in that story and the one about the fashion bug is, it's like if you take yourself too seriously, it can become really tense. And if you don't, like in all of these incidents, like I think back on this sometimes for real, like even in the story where my cousin outed me and was like, Heather, you're bald. If I would have laughed instead of being like freaked out by that, it probably would have been funny for like everybody. And it wouldn't have been that I would have been the butt of the joke. It literally would have been kind of like the joke is on the cousin for being so
gauche,
dumb, for being stupid and saying that kind of thing, like, oh, dumb boy, you know. But instead, because I took it personally, it's like I absorbed the hit entirely to myself, you know, instead of bouncing that energy right back at him, like whatever.
Dory says, I really appreciate and look forward to these videos. Love you guys.
Thank you, Dory.
Thank you, Dory. And we love having you with us.
And Andrea says, Dory, me too.
Well, we are super happy that you could join us. I'm so sorry that the audio and visual quality have not really been that great today. Good thing we're not really demoing much of anything in this video. Yesterday we didn't experience much of an issue, so
seems perfectly fine.
We're gonna. I think honestly, it's at the cable company, and that's the story I'm gonna stick to because it's easy to get mad at the cable company.
Yeah.
For real.
Saturday night fun is CysterWigs After Dark, Svengoolie, and the original Star Trek.
Though Next Gen is very good.
Next Gen is very
I
good.
very much like Next Gen a lot.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to blow shit up. Commander Riker's continuing mission is to pork anything that moves.
Hey, he was hot. He had that beard energy going on.
Including, but only when he's very drunk, Lieutenant Worf. Sir, I protest!
Dory says, OMG, I have a honeymoon wig story. Okay. You type that out, Dory. We'll wait for you to finish.
Yeah,
that sounds
I would
like
love to hear it if you're willing to tell us, because I mean, this kind of stuff is a lot of fun. Particularly, as I said, with distance, it gets a lot more fun. In the moment, it might not be so great, but then after a little bit of time passes, you're like, what else? It's all good.
You know what? I gotta say, my favorite vintage Star Trek episodes are the ones with aliens that are not just humans with lumpy foreheads and bad haircuts.
That is a lot of Star Trek, isn't it?
Yeah, but you've got the giant planet-eating amoeba. You've got what was it, the Arena, which features the Gorn, who had the voice of Ted Lurch Cassidy, which was excellent, and Devil in the Dark, which starred the first ever silicon-based life form, the Horta, in a mining colony that was killing people. And then they found out why it was killing people.
I'm just gonna play with this because it's here.
That's fine. Hey, Wendy!
Hi, Wendy!
Heather. Nigel, Wendy here from Australia. You keep dropping out buffering. Which wig are you wearing? You're looking very glamorous 1940s Hollywood.
This is my Anya, and this is in Harlow Blonde.
There you go. Someone was asking about Harlow Blonde earlier. Yes,
This
it's
is-
Harlow Blonde.
This is what this looks like. You can tell the root is a little bit shorter on the non-heat friendly version compared to the heat friendly version. I wanted this to be a little bit more laid back, classy, polished. That was the vibe I was going for. But I love this one because the more you play with it, the crazier it gets. It's not necessarily like what I would consider like a curly wig. It's more like almost like not quite wavy even. It's just kind of curled, a little curled.
This has nothing to do with your wig, but Bettina says trouble with tribbles. Yes,
Classic.
Tribbles.
Amazing
Fucking
episode.
love tribbles.
Amazing. See, I think that they're probably based on guinea pigs because guinea pigs are a lot like that. I used to have guinea pigs when I was younger, and they're so cute. They're so cute. But you have to be very careful not to make sure you have a boy with a girl because you'll end up with 20 guinea pigs before you know it. But they're so cute. I used to take my pet guinea pigs because I had a few of them. I used to take them outside in the yard, and they would follow me around like I was the big guinea pig. And they always walk nose to butt in a single file line, and it is quite possibly the cutest thing in nature because it's like week, and then they'll stop and look around, and they'll like chew the air and go week, and then they'll just keep walking. And every once in a while something will startle them, and they'll stop. So I used to like walk around like we were in a conga line with me and my guinea pigs, like all over the yard. They're so cute. Oh gosh, they're so cute. They're the best.
Mary H says, it's funny, I tried so hard to hide my thinning hair. Now, though, once I start watching Heather wearing wigs, I tell everyone proudly, it's a wig.
That's right.
Well done.
That's right. I'm going to give you a round of applause as well, Mary, because that's the thing. Like, once you start to relax a little bit, I mean, I know some people, when they relax, they stop wearing wigs entirely, right? So advocating for this sometimes can be self-defeating if my goal is to sell people hair. I'm totally cool with that because it's like a gift, you know, to be like, hey, if you relax and you stop putting so much weight on what people think about your hair, they stop criticizing you. You know what I mean? Like it becomes like your like shield. Because if they realize that you're not insecure about this, they stop trying to poke you about it. I once worked in an office. I'll let you say this bit and then I'll tell the story.
Sorry, just Shelley says, I like the gangster Star Trek one too. Very funny. Yeah, Vic Tayback as Bella Oxnix. That was great stuff.
He knows all about this stuff.
Not all of it, but just some things that catch my interest. Like I remember him because he was in that that sitcom Alice about the diner. He was the chef. He was the chef, and then he played the gangster in a. So I thought, hey, that's Mel from
Mel's Diner.
Mel's Diner, and I thought, oh, playing Bella Oxmix.
Yeah. No, oh gosh, I almost forgot what I was talking about. So now I know that the vodka is kicking in. Oh man. What was I saying before you told the story? Do you remember?
Owning wearing wigs and not caring what other people think, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely forgot where I was going with that.
My apologies.
I will remember someday. My attention span goes completely downhill once the vodka kicks in, and that's just life. I'm probably going to remember when I go to the refrigerator for a snack later or something, open up and be like, damn, that's what I was supposed to say.
Bettina had a hamster. Her name was Fluffy.
I love hamsters too. When I was in 6th grade, like, okay, so I'm one of those people where like, I was in gifted programs, accelerated programs. This sounds like a humble brag. It's not, or it might just sound like a regular brag, but it's really not. Because the point is that my grades were not always very good. Like I was actually, my senior year was awful. My grades were terrible because I was so bored and so depressed. Long story, but I was like a D student. But the weird thing was that I got to take my SAT when I was 14 and I never had to take it again. And I also got to take hamsters home. Like we had in 6th grade, my biology teacher had a pet hamster and I got chosen to be the person that got to keep the hamsters over the summer. So I was responsible for the class hamsters. And Nigel, do you know what their names were?
Penfold?
Calvin and Hobbes.
Out fucking standing.
I got to take care of Calvin and Hobbes over summer vacation.
That's great.
And that's why I maintain, like you say about tanukis, about how they're like 90% balls.
Yeah.
Like like hamsters, rats, and rodents in general. It's like their bodies are this big, and then if they're male, their man bits, their male fuzzy rodent bits are like this big. It's awkward to try to play with them and hold them because you can't escape the thought that their fuzzy little balls are touching you the whole time that you're playing with the hamster.
Yeah.
And I remember being very freaked out about that as a kid.
Speaking of tanukis, my first introduction to tanukis was with the video game Super Mario Brothers 3. You could get a furry tanuki suit that made Mario look like he was dressed up as a raccoon.
That was cute. That was supposed to be a tanuki?
Well, he had two ways of doing that. You could pick up a leaf and he'd get ears and a raccoon tail. And then you'd actually get a tanuki suit, which was all brown and with just his face sticking out. And it would enable you to fly and turn into a statue to avoid attacks, and enemies would walk right by you, or you could crush them like a statue. But yeah, then I found about what tanukis actually are. They're Asian raccoon dogs. They're actually canids related to dogs, and they're the only canid species that hibernates. But they have like
Is it torpor or actual hibernation?
Actual hibernation. And they have like 14 babies per litter, and the babies are so friggin' adorable.
Are they red panda baby cute though? Because
they're pretty darn cute.
Because baby red pandas are quite possibly the cutest animals ever. They're really cute.
We know how red pandas have that long tail.
Yeah.
Well, tanukis have when their babies have a little tiny stubby tail, and they're like a little round head, a little round body, little stubby legs, little stubby tail. But they're adorable. But yeah, in Japanese folklore, tanukis are able to change shape and turn into other things. And here's the thing.
I think I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, tanukis the male tanukis are very obviously male. And we watched a movie recently called Pom Poko from the famous studio Ghibli. And they had to change a few things for the Western release of the film because no one knows what a tanuki is, apparently, outside Japan, so they just called them raccoons.
That movie was so weird. That movie is really weird.
And instead of having traditional tanuki anatomy, it was called a raccoon pouch.
But like, here's the thing: they have magical scrotums.
Yeah.
In this movie, they have magical shape-shifting scrotums. They don't change shape. The scrotums make them change shape.
Oh no, the scrotums, they change shape themselves, but they also have enormous.
What about the
change.
girl tanukis?
Well, they can change shape.
But they don't have magical scrotum pouches.
No, but they can change shape.
See, I'm so not with the whole, like, the physics and the universe of magical...
One of the old Tanuki males changed his personal anatomy into a sailing ship.
He turned his sack, his raccoon pouch, into a very large boat. This is a very weird movie. It's so weird. Like, I know that there's like an environmental message in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's a fun movie with an environmental message,
but it is not Ferngully. This is
it's not for Kiddywinks.
No, the whole story of Pompoko revolves literally around magical scrotums.
Pretty much.
Literally. And it's like so weird to see like cute little fuzzy animals and their story about how they want to prevail over like this development company that wants to develop their homeland and magical scrotums. Like, calling it a raccoon pouch will only get you so far, because when you watch it, you realize that that pouch is in a specific location.
And it's drawn on these cartoons. It doesn't leave you much. You don't need to use much imagination to realize what they're going for with this.
It's one of those things where, like, if you're not a part of the culture, it just seems like an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Interesting choice, for sure. Don't watch it with your kiddos.
No.
Unless your kiddos are of like a certain age where, you know, they're old enough to appreciate how goofy that is.
Now, I'm reminded now.
Is that me being hateful of somebody's culture? I don't mean to be, but
no, but there are
magic scrotums, people.
Heather, any culture in the world, you can look at stuff and think, why they do that? That's weird. I mean, you know, stargazy pie.
Or like in America, where we always ask people, how are you doing? And then half the time people don't care about what the actual answer is. You're not supposed to like say how you're actually doing. You're just supposed to go, okay, how about you?
It took me ages to get the hang of phallic communication.
Yeah,
like
I'm autistic. That is something that really stands out as a cultural weird thing.
Because I'm just not very well socialized. So, you know, I took it literally as well. You know, they really don't want to hear about all my aches and pains and twinges and skin conditions and all that sort of thing. Who knew?
Oh my God, same. You know, this is sign language when you're like, yeah. I took sign language for 4 semesters. I remember very little of it, but it was really cool. Did you see this?
Yes.
Nigel, you're
Thank
awesome.
you, Dory.
Yes, I agree. We need to come up with a really good excuse to get you into making a cocktail book for people.
Alrighty.
Kristen says she took her SATs when she was 26 years old. You know what? You took it.
Yep.
You took it, right? Like, whether it's the SAT, the GRE, the GED, whatever it is, like the fact that you can say I did this is the part that matters, you know, because it means that you're on the journey, you're taking the steps, you're doing the things. So, you know, I didn't even get my undergraduate degree until I was 30, and I dropped out twice before I was actually able to make it stick because I had to work full time the whole time I was in college. So, you know, whatever you got to do, as long as you're doing it, that's the important part. Oh, Dory says, this is your calling, Heather. Yes, talking about magical scrotums. Maybe that's not quite what she meant.
You know what? I was just thinking that would have added a whole different level to Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh, God. He could already fly with that suit on, couldn't he? He could kind of like glide, coast.
Well, he could sort of drift down by flapping his tail.
Yeah, his tail. But can you imagine if that wasn't his tail?
Remember in Super Mario World when Mario had a cape which he used as a hang glider?
Oh, God, yes.
Ow! Ow!
Now
he swooped.
Now that makes sense. Ow, indeed. Oh, man. So do we have any more crazy wig stories?
Oh, Serene has a good one.
This is actually about tribbles. She said, I wish I had the job of tossing the tribbles from the overhead storage unit. Kurt kept getting hit randomly, and I know there was some stagehand purposely tossing them right at his head. From what I heard, William Shatner was hard to work with, so I'm sure that was personally quite cathartic to be like, here, funk.
You say sabotage. I say sabotage. Don't
tell me how to act. It sickens me.
I absolutely love his spoken word stuff, though. It's magical.
Speaking of magical scrotums,
It's as magical as
scrotums.
it's as magical as a magical scrotum.
Oh, have you seen that? I believe it was the Deep Space Nine follow-up episode, Trials and Tribulations, where they go back in time to the Tribble incident.
No.
They get the same guy who played the undercover Klingon, and they go back in time to stop him from going back in time again and planting a bomb on that station. And it's actually the captain and his science officer, I think, who are up in the bin throwing the tribbles down at Kirk every so often, because they have to scan each one to see if there's a bomb in the tribble. And no, boom, boom.
Please tell me while he's handling them, they make little noises.
Some of them do, yeah.
That makes it really
most of them. I won't spoil it for you.
Yeah, don't, because
yeah, it's fun. You get to see who is actually throwing the tribbles down on Kirk's head.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with Deep Space Nine, though. If John were here, he could give us an encyclopedic rundown of everything about, like, literally every Star Trek franchise.
Well, we'll have to watch that episode, because you don't really need to watch the rest of it to understand it, really.
Yeah.
And it's got I can't think of his name. Malcolm McDowell's nephew in it.
That one.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
That guy who is Malcolm McDowell's nephew. I know who you're talking about, the nephew guy.
After chemo, my hair grew back very thin on top. Love my wigs, so continue to wear them. People keep asking me, hasn't your hair grown back yet? Well, that's charming.
Yeah, that reminds me of when I used to work in an office. When I worked at this advertising agency, it was a very interesting environment. Advertising is a weird place to work. And, we have our own in-house creatives and researchers and marketers and salespeople, and everybody was on one floor of a big, big, big building. And everybody was like in a sea of cubicles, and we would all interact with each other. And there was this one lady who was in the creative department. She was actually like a graphic designer, but she was older. She was like older than me. So she was in her 50s back when I was in my 30s. So old enough to know better is really the point. And she was one of those like nosy ladies, you know what I mean? The nosy ones who ask you leading questions knowing that it's tacky, and they just keep at it, being more insistent each time. So in this case, she was like, your hair looks great. What have you done? And then she would say some version of that over and over and over again. Like literally every time I would encounter her, she would say something like that. Like when I first started wearing my Jameson, when I first switched to wigs as opposed to just wearing my hair. So it was actually like I went from a really sparse pixie to a full bob, essentially. So it was obvious that I was wearing a wig, because I mean, that kind of transition is not going to happen without some kind of augmentation, right? And so she kept asking me about that, and I was just like, I don't know. And frankly, if I just would have said, it's a wig, mind your business, or, hey, it's a wig, you want to know where I got it? One of those things would have been probably all it took to diffuse that situation, which is how I learned that sometimes when you're in offices with people who are kind of like
jerks,
that
tactless.
Yeah, no, she knew what she was doing, so she knew that tact was an option, and she opted out.
Jerks.
Yeah, so I think that's probably more accurate. And the thing is, like, if she just would have asked me point blank, are you wearing a wig? I probably would have told her, because I wasn't really trying that hard to hide it. But it was the first wig I ever wore in real life, and I was trying my best to see, can people tell? And the answer was, of course they could, because I went from no hair to, oh my gosh, I have nice hair now. And, but she kept asking, and I never told. And sometimes I wish I could go back and just be like, it's a wig. Here's my card. You know what I mean? Because that would have shifted the power dynamic of that conversation real quickly. So I keep that in my brain for a rainy day. Someday, if that ever happens again, I'm just gonna whip out my card and be like, here you go. But here's the thing, when you I think she was asking because I was probably putting off energy that was like, I'm insecure about this. Please don't ask. You know what I mean? And people who are really jerks, as you said, will pick up on that and they'll be like, a thing I can poke.
Victim.
Poke, right? And
I'll be the victim.
Right.
All your life.
Very, very nice Wednesday Addams
Thank
reference here. Yeah. But essentially, like, if you stop giving off insecure vibes, people don't even pick up on there being difference. And if they would have noticed due to how abrupt the change was, if I was just like super confident about it, they probably would have been like, oh, this isn't going to be interesting to talk about. So like nobody ever asks me about my hair now, even if it's fabulous. They'll just tell me I have good hair. That's it.
Becky with the good hair?
No, I am not Becky with the good hair. I'm
Okay.
Heather with the good hair. Thank
Damn
you very
right
much.
you
Andrea says, what eyeshadow palette are you wearing tonight? It's wonderful.
Thank you, Andrea. It's a combination of Juvia's Place Nubian 3 Coral, which is what I use for the mattes. And I also pulled out the Club Nebula palette by Kaleidos.
Are they in here?
No, they're in the bathroom.
Okay.
And it's their collaboration palette with Angelica Nyquist. I pulled out their really beautiful chromatic coral shade called Nebula, and I threw that on there. And there's another one called... yeah, you might as well just grab it, honey, so I can show people. I actually polled people last night during the live stream on the main channel and asked them, do you want me to make a video about this palette? Because it is freaking phenomenal. It is so beautiful. The shimmery shades in it are really aging eye friendly if you know where to place them. Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Very good.
by the way, I have to say this. Kristen says, I've never heard magical and scrotum in the same sentence before. Well, now you have.
We have over-delivered.
Loads of times.
Loads.
Adriana says, I'm home. What did I miss? Just about everything, I'm afraid.
You missed
Adriana.
magical scrotums, is what you missed.
But don't worry, it'll be available on the replay
Yes.
once we stop
Good thing we give
broadcasting.
that disclosure about adult language on these. But yeah, I used the Nubian 3 by Juvia's Place as like the foundation for this. Basically just using some of the gray shades and a little bit of this shade here, which is kind of like a coral shade. And then the actual shimmery shades are this beautiful, gorgeous, amazing Club Nebula palette from Kaleidos. Think of it as like kaleidoscope with like part of the name chopped off.
With the coat missing.
And this is what
Ooh, I don't think I've seen that package.
the packaging is. Absolutely delicious. These people go out of their way to make amazing packaging. It's super bulky. It feels very substantial, but it is gorgeous.
Kathy says, Nebulon sounds like a villain from Futurama. You know what? It's also a style of frigate used in Star Wars and the name of a planet from Transformers.
So the main color that I'm using, so You're My Only Hope, and I should remember that because it makes me think of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, it's You're My Only Hope is this here, and then this color, Nebula, which is kind of like a really beautiful coral that shifts orange and pink. That is what is, boom, like over 3/4 of my lid there.
Let me have a look at that.
Yeah. And it's just delicious. It's their collaboration palette with Angelica Nyquist, who specializes in really bright eyeshadow tutorials here on YouTube.
Oh, wow. There's so many geeky things in here.
Right? You want to give people some examples?
Okay. For people who are a fan of Joss Whedon's stuff, the first color is called Firefly. There's a blue called 7 of 9 for you Borg people. Gravity. Queen of Blades. I don't quite get that one. Then there's Void. You're My Only Hope. Naru. Naaru. I don't get that one, I'm afraid. Astro. That's very spacey. Rockhopper. Cylon. There's one called Cylon, but it's purple for some reason. I would think it would be silver or gold or red.
It's the thought that counts.
But it's Cylon.
Yeah.
There's Celestial, Nova, Samus, as in Samus Aran from the Metroid video games. It's even got sort of her armor color. It's a bit orangey yellow. Nebula, of course, and Red Giant. That's fantastic.
Isn't that super cool? So
That's
yeah,
fantastic.
and this one is hard to get. It is really hard to get. They didn't send it to me or anything. This is something I bought, and literally I had to wait till it came in stock 3 times because it kept selling out. But this is on the Kaleidos website, and it is gorgeous. You can see I'm like making a mess all over it, but I pulled people yesterday and asked, "Hey, do you want me to make a video about this?" I'd be super happy to do that, because I like doing the nude eyeshadow reviews, particularly if it's helpful for folks and addresses my pet peeve about things being called nude when they're not. But really, colorful eye makeup is kind of my heart.
Wow, 12 colors in here.
And that's actually a really good deal. All these Juvia's Palace shadow collections are super affordable. This was like, I think $14 or something like that.
Nubian, we got lots of that.
This was not $14. This was like almost 60, I think. And with shipping, it was more because it's like a European brand. So the shipping alone was like $14. Yeah. But worth it. Very, very good.
All righty.
So I think that's more or less it for tonight. Do we have any more hair stories before we take off?
I haven't seen many more hair stories.
Oh, want to say bye to Carla. Bye, Carla. If we missed you, just know on the replay we said bye.
Yeah. Okay, so we done.
And apparently Serene left too. I'm so happy you joined us, Serene. Hopefully, you know we said bye. So we're going to go ahead and just say sign up for the newsletter if you haven't signed up for it already, because regardless of wherever we go with our content, as if you missed the beginning of the live stream, just know we spent a great deal of time talking about some of the technical issues, as well as just some of the like philosophical issues about doing stuff here on YouTube. For me, this is not about like, it's not necessarily all about marketing. Like there is a component of that, and I'm not going to try to pretend like there isn't. But for me, I really like just the conversational component. And I'm really interested in seeing like, what is the happiest life-work balance that I can achieve doing these things, you know, like where it's still fun and engaging for you guys too. So if we do end up moving the show to Vimeo, where there will be no commercial interruptions, and perhaps we have a little bit more control over the quality of the stream and the kind of videos that play afterwards and stuff like that, because I have to actually pay Vimeo as a platform to put my stuff there, which I'm already doing and I'm totally fine to do. It's actually pretty cool, and the Vimeo player is actually really snazzy. Like, it's super cool. But if we end up doing that, we will put it in the newsletter and we will send that out to everybody. So that way you don't miss out on any of it. Sign up for the newsletter. Plus, we send out sales newsletters and stuff like that too. So you'll get all the coupons and all that good stuff. Know that on Fridays, we are doing a series of live streams to potentially give away a wig that is hanging out behind me. This is an Eva by Aesthetica Luxuria in the color R4, which is not as dark as it would be in synthetic. It's actually almost like a chestnut brown. Very beautiful. Bye, Liz. Thank you for joining us. And if you would like to get in on the clues and how to do the things, because it's got a couple different steps to enter, but all of it's free, please make sure you watch on Fridays. And one more announcement from me and Nigel. We may have the opportunity to actually go to a friend of John's beach house at some point. My business partner has a friend that has a beach house, and there is a possibility that they might not have been able to rent it out, and we might be able to go stay there. If that happens, we will not have the ability to do the live streams. So I will try to make sure that I schedule some content to kind of take its place. If that disrupts our normal schedule, I will make sure I make an announcement about that, so that way everybody knows what's up. And we will try to like give you as much of a heads up about that as possible. But heck yeah, free beach house. If we get the opportunity, we're going. So I just want to let you know that that's something that might interrupt this. If not, the show will go on either way.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Andrea says, these are great. Thanks for doing them.
Oh, our pleasure, for sure.
And Kathy says, such a fun episode. Looking forward to the next good vibes.
Thanks, Kathy, and thank you for joining us.
Barbara in Texas says, you look beautiful in Anya in that color with the shorter root.
Thank you. I like blonde sometimes, too.
Adriana says, that would be awesome for you guys. And Katina says, love the beach, my happy place.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice to just kind of unplug and not be on social media. I mean, I get a lot out of this, obviously, and I love the interaction. So does Nigel.
Oh, yeah.
But every once in a while, it's still nice to just kind of unplug, read an actual newspaper that's actually made of paper. Yeah.
Decompress.
Listen to the water, that sort of thing.
Fucking gulls.
Well,
I'm from Torquay. We do not like herring gulls much.
You guys have a lot of herring gulls, though. Yeah, no, at all hours, day and night, because they don't have like a feeding schedule. They just constantly feed, apparently, and they go.
Yeah, the baby gulls. We would have baby gulls We had gulls nesting across the street
On the rooftops and
on
stuff.
rooftops, and you just hear the babies going
And they're so
24/7.
Oh, they're so loud. They're so incredibly loud. And you would like to be like, oh, they're babies, they're cute, but it's not a cute sound. It's like nails on a chalkboard 24/7.
More output than a sewage plant, I'm telling
See,
you.
I think they would have a better survival rate if they would have been born with a cute little noise. Like if they made a noise like a baby kitten, you know? Meow, meow. Oh,
Yeah.
it'd be like, ah, baby kitten gallbirds. But no.
Oh, you know, like baby killdeer. Killdeers are cute. Killdeers are friggin' adorable.
But galls.
No.
Why? Why? It's like nature is daring you to smite them. All right. Yeah, Shelly's like, hungry, feed me. They really mean it too. Oh my goodness. It's all day long. At least
Yeah.
when we had baby wrens, I think they were wrens in our wreath. It was only once in a while and it was only during the day. And they were super cute. Every time they would beg for food, I'd be like, oh, it was like my heart would melt. Or it was like the Grinch that stole Christmas and his heart grew 3 sizes. It'd be like, oh, babies.
Played by Boris Karloff.
And because our house is made of paper mache, I could literally hear it from any room in the house.
Yeah.
Whereas
Like the mother comes in with a beak full of bugs. You'd hear them go, and they were cheeping, but it was fine because it was cute. It wasn't.
Yeah, no, they didn't sound like hellspawn.
No.
Very insistent hellspawn coming right for your pre-digested bird fishy matter.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for joining us. And on that awkward note, we're going to end this awkward hair podcast.
Yeah.
Live stream, whatever.
But thank you for joining us. It's been a hoot. We've had fun ranting. And all that. Thank you for
drinking
sharing
publicly. Yes.
And thanks for sharing your stories with us. It really helped with the interactivity.
Yeah, and I hope that honestly, when people watch the replays of these things, they're like, "Oh wow, there's hope for me too." Like
other people are in the same position we're in.
Right.
We're not alone.
That's right. So not only is it cathartic and funny and goofy and just a hoot to do, but it could actually be more healing than just dwelling on that. Oh, look at what I've lost. Well, yeah, we've all lost. Like most of us here, I won't say all, because some people wear hair for fashion reasons. But some of us have honestly lost most, if not all, of our hair. But you get to a point, honestly, where you're just like, fuck it. Fuck it. Yeah, I lost my hair. I have no say in that. Let's have some fun with it.
Yeah. I can now have any hairstyle I want and any color I want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instantly.
I don't have to deal with crazy hormonal PCOS, kinky, humidity responsive hair anymore. I can wear silky straight platinum blonde if I feel like it. My hair would never do that. It would frizz out and break off if I try to dye it something this light. So
want to change your hairstyle?
Yeah, it's like an advertisement that makes itself.
Yeah.
And we don't have to be like just on, QVC mode. We can literally just be like, this is life.
Here's a cocktail recipe. Let's have fun.
Yeah, see, we're doing the thing. And the hair is there too. It's not always the star of the show, but it's part of life and it's fun. And let's make it fun. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Bye, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Bye.